Well, good morning, and welcome to the second episode of Season 3 of Buddy Movies. I am your host, Anthony Watkins.
And I'm your host, Mark Young.
And, well, it has been quite the past week.
A struggle.
Week plus for you.
Yeah.
Do you want to fill some of our viewers in on what's been happening with you the past week?
I got the damn Rona.
You got the Rona. It finally got to you.
Finally. It all started like the Sunday before we were supposed to record. I'd watched a movie Saturday with my family, like my kids. And then Sunday, my wife wasn't feeling well, so I took my oldest son out. And he and I went up to Mechanicsburg and did some shopping and picked up some items that we needed and things. And then came back home, and that was a great way to get him away for 2-3 hours because Mechanicsburg's like an hour north of here. And I come home, my wife still wasn't feeling well. And she was like, I think I need to go get tested. And I was like, oh, that bad. Okay. So she goes I keep the kid. She goes to the doctor, gets tested. They do the rapid test on her. So like they found out in like 15 minutes, and she came back and it was positive. So she had to call work and make arrangements for them to, basically she wasn't allowed to go in for almost 2 weeks, and just started back a couple of days ago. Yeah. And then I started getting sicker and sicker. Like Monday, I was already sick to the point where I couldn't record. And dealing with my wife and my kids also, it was just too much to do that. And then, what was it? By the end of the week, I wasn't able to really like read stories to my kids just because I was like so out of breath and so worn out from it. And my son and I have been reading through Harry Potter. So we're on the third book right now. And we just finished it last night. But yeah, we were so close at the end, and we weren't able to finish those last couple chapters because I wouldn't be able to read for more than like a couple minutes because it's just like, I don't know what it does, but it really messes with your lungs and your breathing and stuff like that. So
so you were out of breath just trying to read?
Just trying to read out loud, yeah. Obviously, It wasn't like I was reading to myself. I could read to myself fine still, but trying to read out loud to the kids, it took it out of me. And I was just like, this is bad.
Yeah, man.
What was it? So
you got hit hard.
Yeah, I was just trying to take it easy and not do anything to make it worse, because I never actually got tested, and so I didn't go and get any medicine or anything like that. But yeah, so Monday we were supposed to record this episode again, and I was like, I just can't do it. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel like I can actually do it. So canceled again. Yeah, and then Monday night, my wife was like, why don't you go outside? So we went outside with the kids, and she was pushing him on the swing and stuff, and I'm just kind of standing there half dead. And then later that evening, my son's like, come on, Daddy, let's read this. He wanted to read more of the Harry Potter book because we literally had 4 chapters left in the book. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I start reading it. And I was able to go all the way through it, the whole chapter, without stopping. I was like, oh, wow. Okay, so I'm actually getting better. This is great. And I think from there,
improvement.
Yeah, from there, seeing like the little bit of improvement, I was like, okay, no, I'm going to get through this. It's going to be fine. But that encouraged me to just like keep pushing in little ways but not too many. Like, I don't want to go, I was trying to start an exercise routine the week before, and I don't want to overexert myself to the point where I get sicker and worse. I don't want to get pneumonia and end up in the hospital and have it all worse on me. And so, yeah, it was just
wow,
a little bit of a trial by fire. Like, I don't know. It was just not. The hard part is you're so worn out, and we have 3 young kids. The oldest is 6, and they want to do stuff. And we're like, well, we can't. Like, I physically can't. So the first thing we did when we got sick was we unlocked their tablets for unlimited time. So it wasn't no longer a question of like, oh yeah, because we limit them, 2 to 4 hours depending on their age and what they're doing on it. But I just unlimited time. You can use it as much as you want to go play video games. Here, I'll put on movies, watch as many movies as you want. Thank God for Disney Plus and HBO Max. And we've been watching
all these streaming services.
Oh my gosh. My son and I finally started watching Lord of the Rings. So he got through.
Oh.
Yeah, we watched the entire first one, and we have about a half an hour left in Two Towers right now. So then they're
extended
right at the
editions or
no. I was going to do the extended editions, but he's 6 years old, and the extended editions have just so much extra to it that I was like, no, let's just get through the regular ones. He'll do the extended editions when he's older, maybe after he's read the books or something. Yeah, so we're just doing the regular ones. But yeah, so we're right at the beginning of Helm's Deep battle, and
gotcha.
I don't know.
He's liking it.
Yeah, he's liking it a lot. His gameplay is now like the way he plays with his toys and stuff, because we do a lot of World of Warcraft stuff, and in World of Warcraft they have orcs, they have dwarves, they have elves, so they have a lot of the similar type of things. But he understands that Lord of the Rings is a little different, but still very much the same stuff. So the other day he was still playing World of Warcraft with his toys, but he was like, they just blew up the wall. Kind of like we were just at that point in Helm's Deep where they just blew up the wall. So he's putting elements from the movie into playing now. He's like, Dad, they just blew up the wall. They're getting through. The orcs are getting through. So it was fun.
Wow, that's exciting. Oh, yeah. First time experience watching one of the greatest trilogies of all time. I mean, that's as good as it gets there.
So I recommended our podcast to my friend the other day, and I realized that Lord of the Rings is the first episode we did. And it's 15 minutes long.
That's right.
It's a 15-minute long thing.
Trilogy.
And I'm just so we covered the entire trilogy in 15 minutes.
We're just that good.
We're just that good. Or I was like, okay, dude, just so you know, the first couple episodes are rough. But yeah,
we're really trying to keep it under that 20-minute limit there for the first couple episodes.
We were trying to stick to that. And then it just got to a point where we're like,
yeah. Throw it out the window. We have the content we want to say. We don't want to try to cram it all or talk really fast and to push it into 20 minutes. So
practically at 20 minutes right now. I don't know. I guess
I'm glad you're. Yeah.
Glad I didn't die.
I'm glad you're on the mend now. I'm glad you didn't die, because I don't want to do this all by myself. I mean, so
yes, that's the big downfall to that.
That's the big downfall. I mean, if you die, what am I supposed to do? That's my biggest concern right now. I mean, come on.
My last words would have been,
I was like, well,
carry on the show.
I got you. I would have done my absolute best. Try to rip my brother into it or something. I don't know. I don't really have a plan B.
Actually, speaking of that, my one buddy is like, I want to be on your show, and he's a lively dude. He adds this funny element to it. I was actually thinking about how we could add someone else in. Not that I want, not that I don't like the dynamic we have, but now that we're doing this video part of it, it's like, dude, we need to step it up.
Right.
I think he'd bring a lot of energy to it. Didn't know if maybe we could test out on the live show or something, but because that's still ahead of us here.
We could definitely look into that.
Dude, did you get snow yesterday?
We did not hear in Lancaster. They did, I know, over in Branson, Missouri. The Sight
We
and
got
Sound
snow down
Theater.
here yesterday.
Man,
We got
yeah,
snow
we
down
did
here.
not get any here.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, it was down
insane.
to like low or high 30s, I think. But yeah, we didn't actually get any snow here.
Yeah,
Did you get
April
like any?
20th. What?
Did you get like any? Like, was it just a dusting? Like, did it actually accumulate
It
anything?
was like
Or
flurries. It didn't really accumulate too much.
yeah,
Maybe a little bit, but then eventually like disappeared. But
right.
yeah, April freaking 22nd,
That
and we're
is
getting snow.
crazy. That is absolutely
I mean,
crazy.
I literally,
Yeah,
if I drive 45 minutes, I'm in the South. I mean, it's not even
yeah,
like a question anymore. It's not like, oh, yeah, we're in the northern parts of the southern states. No. If I drive for 45 minutes, I'm in southern states. So what the heck is
yeah.
going on here that we're getting
Mm-hmm.
snow in the end of April? It's craziness.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't like it.
Yeah, the Branson Sight and Sound Theater, they had snow over there, and they actually had a power outage in Branson. They had to have like an hour and a half minute show hold because they lost power.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah. Anyway,
Laura's still over there?
yes, she is coming back tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to drive back tomorrow. So,
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, excited for that, definitely. But yeah, because she's been gone about a month at this point. I think she left March 24. So it'll be close to about a month here. So
Yeah, it'll be April 24th tomorrow.
yeah. So well,
There's our
today,
timestamps so people know when we're recording.
yeah, got to get that in. So I just have one question for you, and that is, why are you the way you are? Why are you the way that you are? Really? How could you possibly hate the brilliance that is Shrek? The brilliance, the cinematic brilliance that is Shrek. I'm just curious.
I
I
think you're
hate.
confusing cinematic brilliance with childhood nostalgia.
Well, actually, no, that cannot possibly be the case because I did not even grow up watching Shrek. Did not. I didn't watch it first time until I was, I want to say, 13 or 14. So it's not like I was 6 or 7 years old when I started watching it. But
Yeah, but I mean,
I was younger, yes. But we're gonna get into that. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. I need to pull out those two
God,
lines.
no, no,
Oh, he's back.
no.
Oh, can you imagine? Yeah, he's right back. You should go see him.
Like,
Dare I? You know what? I will, just for old time's sake. One of the best moments of the entire show, easily. All right, well, Shrek. This was released May 18, 2001, written by, see if you recognize these names, Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, and then also by Joe Stillman and Roger S.H. Schulman. It was based on the book by William Steig. Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio wrote the first 4 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I had no idea that they had co-written Shrek until, before I did some research on this.
It is funny to see like the things that people end up doing as like their first couple movies and how, like last week we were talking about Mad Max and the guy had written Happy Feet and Babe.
Yeah, something
in
completely
between.
out.
He did the Mad Max series. Like it's like, wait, what? So he did Mad Max 1, 2, 3, did Babe, did Happy Feet, and then came back and did more Mad Max. It's just like a bizarre, it's just weird. But yeah, who else?
This was
like
also
Joss Whedon started with Toy Story, so just kind of like
that's
odd.
That's true.
Like kids' movies seem to be a place to like get your foot in the door for a lot of things. My goodness.
Yeah. This was also directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen. Adamson went on to direct Shrek 2, as well as The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and Prince Caspian. So he did some of the Narnia films after Shrek here.
So
Box office wise, you can blame him if you want. The movie grossed $487.8 million, almost $500 million on a $60 million budget. So obviously a major box office success.
I saw a meme the other day that said, Magic Mike made $169 million. So if you think women still like dad bods, get your butt out of your head. And then someone replied, Shrek made $480 million. I was like, that's a good reply.
That's good. Let's see here. So the brief synopsis: an egotistical lord exiles fairy tale creatures to the swamp of a grumpy ogre who must go on a quest and rescue a princess for the lord in order to get his land back. So I think how we did it last time. Also, I'm going to do trivia at the end because I think that's a better way to wrap it up rather than putting trivia at the very beginning. It felt a little bit off last episode, trying to do it at the beginning. So I'm going to tack some of that on at the end.
Sounds good.
So I'm going to go through some of my pros, and I will let you go all off on Shrek. So I look forward to hearing why you hate this brilliant movie. Just so you know, I look forward to that.
You keep using that word as if it's going to change anything.
Well,
you can say things that are not true.
I'm going to say a lot of good things about this movie right here, right now. So just get ready, buckle your seatbelt. So this movie, like a lot of Pixar movies, this movie has humor, and humor that appeals to both kids and adults. There's a lot of there's a heavy amount of adult flavored humor that was controversial at the time and is to this day still controversial in it. There are jokes involving asses, electric chairs, sexual harassment, and innuendos involving, I will say, male genitalia is the cleanest way I can say it. So there is content in this movie that both kids can enjoy and adults can enjoy, which is always, I think, the hallmark of a good animated movie, when they don't just cater to just kids. They can also, you can have your parent enjoy the movie at the same time. I think that's a big key to a good animated movie. But so basically, this film was doing what Pixar did. I put this as a quote unquote dirty Pixar movie. This was a movie that was doing what Pixar did before Pixar was out in full force. Like I said, this movie came out in 2001, so Pixar had Toy Story 1 and 2 and A Bug's Life out at this point. So Pixar obviously was launched, but they weren't, they still weren't out into their mid 2000s form yet with Incredibles and Finding Nemo and stuff like that. So yeah, Shrek really succeeds not only from its crude humor, which it definitely has, but also it has a lot of rich themes, which I'll get into here in a second. But the film also, what I love is it just subverts expectations at every turn. From the opening scene, Shrek's reading this fairy tale that seems very genuine at first because you haven't even seen him on screen yet, and then it's it seems like a very ordinary fairy tale, and then he just slams the book shut and laughs. And it's from that moment, then the music kicks in, and this is going to be a different kind of fairy tale movie. One of the taglines for the movie that I found that was from IMDb was, "The prince isn't charming, the princess isn't sleeping, the sidekick isn't helping, the ogre is the hero. Fairy tales will never be the same again." So, I mean, it just speaks to the subversion this movie really does for the fairy tale movie. And that said, the movie has over 30 references to different fairy tales, from Cinderella to Snow White, Pinocchio, Three Bears to Tinkerbell, and so on and so on. There are dozens of cool fairy tale references that a lot of people, I'm sure when this came out, to this day appreciate, and they've seen all these references to these different beloved fairy tales. But at the same time, the movie also critiques these kinds of fairy tales because a lot of fairy tales, focused on two attractive people getting together and falling in love and whatnot. And this focuses on what the definition of quote unquote attractive is. And it basically, one of the biggest things was true beauty is on the inside, not the outside. And, this is a very tried and true theme. Like, we've seen this before. This is not like that. That's the one thing I will say that's kind of against this movie is that, we've seen this true beauty is on the inside theme before in many films that came before Shrek. It was not a novel thing at the time. But that said, I think how they approach the story itself, they did it in a very novel way, even though the theme itself is not anything brilliant or brand new or anything. Because, Lord Farquaad, he is short, definitely, but he's short, but he's attractive. But he's also, very selfish, like we were saying, egotistical. He's uncaring, just an all-around loathsome character, even though on the outside he's physically very attractive. Whereas Shrek's viewed as a brute and a dangerous. He's basically an animal. He's treated as an animal, even though he's an actual person, but he's treated as an animal by everyone else. He's just because of the way he looks. And we're told that he likes this and he wants to be left alone, but deep down, as we find out later, he's really hurt by this stereotype and he just wants to admit it to people but he doesn't want to admit it to people because that would make him look weak. He kind of keeps it on the inside. We talked about need and desire before in one of our other podcasts, and I think it was the Finding Nemo podcast last year. And, his desire is basically, he wants to rescue Fiona and get his swamp back, because he just wants to be left alone and stuff like that. But deep down, his need is to be loved and accepted by others and be loved and accepted for who he is, which is an ogre. That's something that deep down, that's what he actually wants. He just doesn't want to come out and say it. And so, by the end of the film, he goes from being an outcast to being accepted by society for who he is, and regardless of his appearance, all the while finding true love through that fairy tale that he made fun of at the beginning of the movie. I just think I just love that. I think it's fantastic. And the quick thing regarding Fiona's character, I think she's a strong female character. She's tormented by this spell that's been on her since she was a child, but she grows from literal damsel in distress to one who can fight and defend herself, which is revealed in that battle sequence. It has the Matrix shot. It's a little bit quick, yes. But there's that cool Matrix shot when she's battling the Robin Hood men. But basically at the end, she accepts her ogre self, and I love how everything comes together for them at the end. And that's what I have to say about this great movie. I view it as one of the best animated movies out there. I'm not going to say it's the best animated movie to ever come out. No. I'm not going to go that far. But I think as far as what it did at the time, I also think it has great animation for 2001. I think it's, some good animation. I was watching it on Blu-ray, actually. I was like, this looks really good. And of course, it was enhanced for Blu-ray, but still. And
yeah, they go through and they enhance those older movies.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I remember watching Toy Story recently on Blu-ray, and I was like, this is not what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more detail in the background and stuff like that for Toy Story. But
yeah. And as far as the sequels go, I really love Shrek 2. After that, they kind of go downhill a little bit for me. I know there's 4 of them. I like the first 2 movies. The third one's okay. The fourth one, not as good. But this first one, I tell you, I think it's great. So now that I've explained all the pros of this fantastic movie, I'd like to hear why. What do you have? What's wrong with Shrek?
Shrek is a movie that tries so hard to be deep, but it keeps getting in its own way with silly toilet humor, and it just constantly stumbles and falls because it's trying too hard to be that funny between adults and kids, where they're trying to be like, oh yes, this is a deep moment, but then we're going to throw some fart humor in here and get you to think, oh yeah, that's hilarious. I've just never been the movie doesn't start off with him closing the book and laughing at it. It starts off with him ripping a page out of it and wiping his butt with it. Like he literally wipes his butt with fairy tales. So, yeah, definitely subvert your expectations, but it doesn't even like stick to its own cohesive story. Like, this is like the dragon is supposed to be this terrifying thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just out of nowhere, first of all, got free and then joins up with them to help him out. She was trapped by this thing, but we find out the next day she could fight. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like they're, and even the beginning of the story, like, why is he even bothering with Farquaad? You know, like as if he's someone who he needs to respect. If he truly doesn't respect that guy, he like, why is he going on all these missions for him? You know, why were the people suddenly?
Well, I mean,
so he's
it's because he's all the fairy tale people are in his swamp, and he knows the only way to get them back because Lord Farquaad had dumped them there. He had exiled them from the city, and he knows the only way to actually get them removed is to do this for Lord Farquaad. So that's kind of his driving force there.
Yeah, but can you even trust a guy like that to follow his word? You know?
I guess
the other thing is there's so many settings in this movie, man. There's so like
there
it changes. Are. It's like 30 or 40 of them. It's like so ridiculous amount that like you can't stay in one place more than a couple seconds. It's a bit jarring.
I think that's one of the best things about it is that you get to see so many different places because most animated movies, they also, they tend to stay in one place at a time. Whereas Shrek, you get to explore, and see all these different amazing places.
Meh.
No.
It's
okay.
No. Because, oh man, I don't know. Yeah. It's just like, so it's just this mix of bodily function humor, which is just like so juvenile that it kind of ruins to me the whole message that they're trying to be deep with. They're trying to be like, oh yes, here, onions have layers. Shrek has layers as well, ogres and layers, and there's layers, which is not like I think a lot of people thought that was like a revolutionary way of explaining things back then, but I'd heard that analogy before. It's not new. And they just what was there? Yeah, I'm just going through this whole movie and it's just like I'm having trouble. I'm not laughing at it. I'm not finding characters are all jerks. No one's wants me. I don't have anyone to cheer for because no one's likable. Not a single person is likable.
Not even Donkey, Eddie Murphy, and his great voice casting for Donkey.
It's just so Shrek. Hey, Eddie Murphy.
I'm a donkey. I'm a donkey, Shrek.
I'm a donkey. Yeah.
I just think that's hilarious. I will say this about
he was Mushu. Like, he was already a dragon. Maybe that's why the dragon fell in love with him, because he was already a dragon before. I don't know. Yeah, I
feel like the toilet humor is motivated though, because like he's an ogre, so they want to highlight all the disgusting things that ogres do and how they're kind of separate from all these normal people around them. And so I feel like in that respect, the toilet humor is motivated.
Yeah, except all that stuff kind of disappears after that. It's like they show it at the beginning, but is that actually how he wants to live, or is that just what he's playing into? So it's this thing of like, okay, but does he actually want to bathe in mud? Like, what's the point of bathing in mud?
Yeah.
I mean, I know humans actually do that now, but if you're actually trying to get yourself it's like a weird treatment, you know. It's not like he's trying to do some exfoliating of his skin to, you know, get certain things out. It's literally like, oh, I just dumped buckets of my mud on myself and treat it like it's gonna wash me off, you know. Like, no. And then he has to sit in a pool anyways and gets his fish by farting. So yeah, I don't know. It just seems like they keep trying to be smart, but I just feel like they get in their own way with their childish, immature humor. And there's ways to do like the kid humor and the adult humor. Pixar proved that before this, you know. So there's, I don't know, there's ways to do it without having to be, you know. So I don't know. Like, it's just like, it's like you're watching two different movies that someone just glued together, in my opinion, because of how stark the contrast is between the deep parts and the juvenile parts.
Yeah. So you have more of a problem with the toilet humor. See, I was going into this thinking, oh, he probably does not like all the sexual innuendos that are sprinkled throughout the entire movie, type of thing.
I mean,
so you have more of a problem with the toilet humor.
That's annoying too, but it's kind of like you barely even notice it. With maybe I'm blinded by the fact of the way movies are now. But yeah, to me, I don't really notice that part of it because it's, if it goes over my kid, if my kid's not asking me questions about it, and I watch this one with my kids, if my kid's not going, "Hey, what's that mean?" then it went over the head. That's fine, you know. But if they're turning around and be like, "Hey, what's that mean?" You know, like, what does he mean compensating? You know, what's the building?
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I did really like. I do like the part that I really laughed at and thought was hilarious was when Shrek first goes to see Farquaad, and the guy sees him and goes, "Ah!" and then he runs through the rope line to get away from him. And Shrek just like walks through the ropes and knocks them all down. It's like, okay, that's hilarious because why did he bother with the ropes? Why did he run around them? You know, like there's way faster ways to get through that. And then he still gets knocked out because he can't fit through the one doorway because the giant head of Farquaad. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mainly the toilet humor. That's just not my thing at all. I really can't stand that type of humor.
I mean, if that's not your thing for movies, I can understand where you're coming from there a bit, because people, when it comes to toilet humor, you either like it or you don't. There's not really much in between with people usually. So it's been a little while since I've seen the sequels. So are you a fan of any of the sequels?
I haven't bothered with any of them.
Okay.
I honestly have not even bothered because I didn't care for the first one, and so I didn't bother. Yeah. I heard they just get worse. So.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a little bit since I've seen the second one, but I do know I love the second one. I want to say there's not quite as much toilet humor in the second one as what there was in the first, so you may actually enjoy the second more than the first. But
all I know is that someone in their analysis, because they did all four of them, they said that the third and fourth movie completely undo everything set up by the first and second movie.
Okay.
I was like, huh, interesting.
So maybe you like the third and fourth movies.
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, as far as the toilet humor goes, I think I just see that as a way of setting up the character, showing you this is what Ogre's lifestyle is. We want to show you at the bare essence, this is kind of how they are. But I also, I do kind of see your point of that they don't really go back to that much in the movie, but I think it's because they've showed you that before, so they don't want to redo the same thing over and over again as they're trying to tell the story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they don't go back to it. But yeah.
So you got some trivia?
I do. I have a couple trivia things here. So what is something very rare? The principal actors never actually met each other. The entire movie, they never met each other while recording for the movie. They read their parts separately, and John Lithgow, who voiced Lord Farquaad, he said at the end he was a bit disappointed they never actually got to work with Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, or Eddie Murphy. So that's very very out of the norm, because usually when you're recording for an anime movie, you're actually in the room with others recording your lines, so you can actually
How
kind of bounce
did they
off each
do
other.
that then? So, okay, that would explain why it doesn't seem like they're playing off each other at all.
Yeah, I don't know the reason. I don't know the reason why they didn't do that. Could not find the actual reason behind it, but certainly wasn't because of COVID.
No.
So another thing here, I had Chris Farley was originally cast as Shrek, and he recorded almost all of his dialogue for the movie before he died. But after his death, the role was actually given to Mike Myers from Saturday Night Live. And Shrek's air quotes that he does in the movie is a homage to Farley, whose character Bennett also used air quotes.
Yeah.
And actually, in August 2015, a story reel that featured a sample of Farley's recorded dialogue was actually leaked online. I have not checked that out, but apparently it was leaked in August 2015. So you may be able to find Farley's interpretation of Shrek if you look hard enough. Other casting names, Alan Rickman was actually the initial casting choice for Farquaad, but he ended up choosing the role of Snape in Harry Potter over this. So
definitely a better choice.
Better choice. I thought you might say that. Yeah.
Actually, I don't like his casting as Snape, mainly because of his age. I think he does a phenomenal job playing the character of Snape, but Snape is supposed to be 31, I think, in the first movie, and by the end of the last movie, Snape's only supposed to be like 38. So it's just this weird thing where Alan Rickman is like 50 when he first plays.
I was going to say late 40s, early 50s, probably.
And then he's like 60 by the last movie. So it's just this, to me, he was just way too old to play the character. And I'm looking forward to see how they cast it later on, because they're going to do a TV show.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, because with a TV show, there's more time to actually develop things. So I think I kind of hope they have better actors. I kind of hope they expand their pool of actors too, because they were really limited to only, not that it was limiting, but they only had British actors. Like, you had to be British to play a role in Harry Potter, which is something they did. Yeah. So, which, I mean, I understand it's their country's kid, but story, but I think they can strengthen themselves by widening the pool this time. Anyway, sorry, Harry Potter. Side thought.
Harry Potter rant there.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted to do Harry Potter, you could have just said so. But anyway.
Oh, I'd be all for doing Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them?
See, that actually wouldn't work, because I'm not a huge fan of Harry Potter myself, so they really wouldn't work. We'd just both be. I read the first book, and I've seen movies 1, 2, and 3, but I have not seen the rest of the movies yet. Harry Potter I did not grow up watching them or anything.
Seen the worst movies, and you've read the worst books. Because I'm going through it all with my son right now. We just finished book 3, and I'm really excited because, in my opinion, book 4, 5, 6, and 7 are like the best books. So and the third movie was just a terrible adaptation, in my opinion. So it's just this funny thing where I literally do view okay, you haven't seen the best parts of Harry Potter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know the franchise kind of goes darker in the later movies, so that's actually something that I would probably like, because I do like the very lightheartedness that is the first. I mean, the first couple movies are kind of literally just children movies, kids movies. And I know they take a darker route in later movies, so that I may actually enjoy those a bit more. But
I'm going to buy them all probably later today. So, maybe you can
like in a
stream
box
them.
set.
No, I'm going to buy them on a stream for Voodoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So back to Shrek. Nicolas Cage was initially cast as Shrek, but he was offered the role, but he turned it down because he did not want to look like an ugly ogre. So he was literally.
Doesn't he kind of already though? Like, no.
I didn't say it. You did. Hey, I liked him in National Treasure. Okay, I liked him in National Treasure.
He is good in National Treasure. I do like those movies.
Yeah. But in 2013, he had said that he regrets the decision and explained, quote, "When you're drawn in a way, it says more about how children are going to see you than anything else. And so I care about that," end quote. So it was really just about his appearance on screen. He did not want kids, to always look at him as an ugly ogre, essentially. So that's why he turned it down. We talked about the locations. There are 36 unique locations in Shrek, more than any other computer animated film at the time. I don't know what movie surpassed it, but at the time it was the most unique locations in a movie, which I think is a great thing. Anyway, Shrek, the word Shrek means, quote, monster in Yiddish, and it's derived from the German word Schreck, Schreck, which means terror or fright. So if any of you are curious why his character name is Shrek, it was some motivation there. This is something I found very interesting. Did you notice what Farquaad's logo looks like? Have you heard this before? It's a little F with a blue background, and the F is white. It's the Facebook logo.
Yeah.
Facebook, like, it seems like Facebook modeled their logo after Farquaad.
Yeah, I did notice that. But I knew the movie came out before Facebook. So
yes, Facebook was around 2004, 3 years after this came out. So some people say, it's just a coincidence, but I don't know. It's a very, very similar.
Maybe Zuckerberg was trying to tell us who he's trying to aspire to be.
Mm-hmm. So we fell for it. We all fell for it.
Oh, yes.
Last little thing I had was everything in Farquaad's castle was designed to be angular, like there's no curves or bends, and that was to kind of heighten his evil nature as a character. So I thought that was an interesting design bit there. And that's all the trivia I had for Shrek. So
yeah, it's probably just the fact that I also don't like Mike Myers. I've never been a fan of his.
This is the only thing I've seen him in. Like, I haven't seen his work outside of this.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I just don't. Just not my cup of tea.
Doesn't register with you.
So are we actually going to have any, like, no, you're wrong arguments about these movies? Because right now, these two were kind of tame.
They were. I was trying going into it. I was like, I need to be more aggressive. So that's why I came out with the Michael Scott quotes. All are just, of course. Why are you the way you are? I hate so much.
If I'm Toby.
Exactly. I think we definitely had a little more friction than what we had in
previous seasons.
Yeah,
but
it'll be more than Mad Max. But
let me think. Like, what about Black Panther?
Black Panther. That's our next one for next week.
That's our next one. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely have some negative things to say about that. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much you.
I just hope you don't get us canceled for being racist.
Crossing your fingers. Yeah. I'll try to pull back a little bit, just a little bit. So if someone asks, if people ask, well, why you guys are kind of tame with Black Panther? Well, now you know why.
It's my fault. I didn't want Anthony to be racist. So
we don't. Yeah. We don't want to get canceled in cancel culture. So we've got to play on the safe side. But yeah, that is
trouble.
That is Shrek.
That is Shrek. Oh my gosh.
So I
I don't know if we
I
should
can't
record
convince
this
you.
early again.
This,
No, you
yeah,
can't
that's
convince me.
why. This is why I mentioned good morning. We're recording this at 6 a.m. This is the earliest we've ever recorded a Buddy Movies episode.
Yes, it
So
is.
if we appear a little lethargic, it's because it's 6 a.m. I went to bed around 1, so I got about
Why'd you go to
4
bed so late?
I was doing some things. I was doing some freelance editing. I was finishing up, and I was at a former coworker's house, Kara's house, and I just got back late, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna try to go to bed immediately. I know I'm gonna get probably 4.5, 5 hours of sleep, so it's whatever.
I was in bed at 10.
10. Nice. So you got some decent sleep.
Yeah.
And you weren't coughing that much, so I mean, I'm glad you're on the mend finally.
Yeah. It's definitely better to be on the mend.
I don't think I told you, but my mom, she gave blood the other week, and it was found when she got the result back that she actually had antibodies for COVID. So she actually had COVID and didn't even know it last year. And she remembered that her and my dad were sick for literally one weekend, just a little bit sick. They had some coughing and some chills and stuff like that. So that's how bad they got it. Like they were literally, they didn't even know they had it, and that's just a weekend type deal. So it's interesting to see how much.
My wife did not get it as bad as me. And my sister-in-law also had it, and my niece had it as well. But neither of them were like, they were just like, oh no, I just had like the sniffles. So it wasn't bad for any of them.
It affects everyone differently.
Everyone's different on it. It's probably why some people question it so much, because what sicknesses have we had this much variety in, where they don't know anything about? I mean, like, they can't trim down the symptoms on it. To me, it felt very similar to the flu. Whereas other people I know were like, oh no, it's way worse than the flu. And I'm just like, I honestly don't think the people who said it was worse than the flu had really had the flu in a long time, because when you have the flu, because I had the flu when the first year my son was born. So 6 years ago, and I guess 7 years ago at this point. I was laid up for like 2 days. I was just in bed, getting sick the whole time, and then I was better, Whereas other people don't seem to realize, I think they conflate the cold with the flu a lot of times, so they don't realize what the flu actually is. So so to me, coronavirus felt very similar to the flu, but longer. So instead of a couple days of being really sick, you just have several days of just being lethargic and unable to move. So not that I have any medical advice at all, but just drink water, rest up if you get it.
Yeah. Crossing my fingers. I've been able to avoid it so far. And I'll probably be getting the vaccine here at some point. So
are they offering it through work for you?
Hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah, it's at my local doctor at this point. So, and because they've expanded, to everyone 16 and older now, so everyone's pretty much eligible.
It's really interesting how that's so different from state to state as well. Because I have friends who just got their second shot like a couple weeks ago, because they're in a different state. So they're all like, oh yeah. Whereas I'm just like, we can't even get it here yet.
Yeah. It's weird.
Well, Shrek.
That was Shrek. I think honestly, we did better as far as banter back and forth between this one and Mad Max. I think we're moving in the right direction. you said it last week. When it comes down to it, we're just not people who like to yell at each other type of thing. We discuss rationally, I think, and nothing wrong with that. So
no, nothing wrong with
but
that.
We'll still try, future episodes, try to, because we want this also to be engaging at the same time, and have that back and forth banter. So, but yeah, that's Shrek, folks. You can comment, make comments below how you felt about the movie, whether you agree with some of Mark's comments or my comments, or where you land on this movie and the franchise as a whole. Like I said, cinematic brilliance. There, I'm not stepping down from that. So, that sums up what you said.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, man.
All right, folks.
Call this.
Yeah, we're gonna call this. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to us. Next week we'll be doing Black Panther, like we said. So stay tuned for that, and we appreciate.
We go to that. I think it's Sound of Music, right?
It is. We go
It'll
from
be our
Black
first
Panther
musical. Black Panther to Sound of Music. What?
That's what we do. We like variety. We like to.
It's an eclectic mix of movies. It's great.
So, yeah.
All right, man.
All right. We will see everyone next week. Thanks again for listening, and stay cool.
Stay cool.